Hey, we're about to start the show, and you know the drill. If you've been here before and you have something important to share, please add a capital letter Q to your comment. And if you are watching live for the first time, please let us know by writing the word new, and we'll give you a nice little welcome. Enjoy the broadcast. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook and later available on YouTube. What do? We try to connect with each other. We try to connect with the news from our city, our state, and our country. We try to connect with Mexico's way of life, with friends. We try to find out what you're curious about, and we try to help make those connections as best as possible. Jesus, really? Wow. I don't know, Gary. I'm never mind. I am. I'm just. Wow, that really threw me out of. I don't know how to, and please forgive me for not having the capacity to poke fun at other people's misery, certainly when they are close friends of this cluster. That comment, Gary, I'm sorry to say, that was totally unacceptable. If anybody else here feels like poking fun at something that you probably don't even have all the information about, and yet you allow yourself to make fun of, please leave this broadcast at once. Thank you. Today, we have all kinds of news. Gary, I'm sorry. I'm not going to let this go. This is a place where we come to connect in the most positive way possible. I know it's not your intention to upset me, but just think about what you said. And I'm not here to judge you. I am not here to say that you're a good person or a bad person. All I'm going to defend here is the quality of experience that we have at Coffee and Headlines. Poking fun at other people is not what we do here. With one notable exception, we like to poke fun at the lords and the ladies of our country. But seriously, Gary, go check your sense of humor somewhere else. And to the rest of you, I apologize. So I might as well just get this out of the system and talk about what happened on Mercurio. And I thought I needed a cocktail before today started. And no, you know what? We're going to start with the news. We're going to start with the program as I envisioned it. And I'm going to hope that nobody else has the impertinence of making comments like that one that I had to defend myself from this morning. This morning, we start with the preparations that the city is putting together, um, because our celebration as of the foundation of Puerto Vallarta as a municipality and as a city is coming up at the end of May. And we always have the celebration, and this year will be no exception. The city has announced a series of cultural events that began with an itinerant photographic exhibition, which we announced a few days ago. It started at the main plaza across from City Hall, and it's traveling through different areas of the city. The rest of the activities that we can look forward to will begin on the 28th of the month. There's going to be a photographic competition that will take place at City Hall. And then there's going to be an inauguration of a mural at the lighthouse on Matamoros Streets. This will happen on the 29th. There will be a jazz event on the 30th at Los Arcos and a parade on the 31st that will go through the city. There is no mention here, this is very curious, of the visit of a symphony orchestra from the United States. I forget if it was Seattle or Tucson. This was mentioned by city people sometime last week, but I couldn't find any more details about that. For that matter, I couldn't find a copy of that flyer anywhere in the city's social media pages or on elsewhere online. But as usual, we hope that more details are made available soon. And the closer we get, elections are coming up and things are getting really crazy out there. In fact, the closer we get to the elections, the weirder things get, and the squabbles among candidates just get stranger and uglier. This is the UMA building. This is an extension of City Hall. There's a lot of city offices here in this building because they don't all fit at City Hall. As we know, the government in Puerto Vallarta is the Morena government. And yesterday, robocalls were made from the switchboard of this government building, and the robocalls featured an artificially generated version of municipal candidate Ramon Guerrero's voice, in which he starts by saying, "I'm Ramon Guerrero, and I sold municipal property." So the fact, just think about this for a second. I find this so far-fetched for a municipality and a government that is not particularly known for being very technologically savvy. The fact that somebody was able to get into a government office and install a robocalling machine on the switchboard to make dirty laundry calls for an opponent is just too crazy for me to understand. Yesterday afternoon, city officials acknowledged the incident. They published a statement saying, well, yes, robocalls were made from our building, but we had nothing to do with it, so we're shutting down the number. That weird. It is that weird during elections here in Puerto Vallarta. Needless to say, Ramon Guerrero, who is running for mayor for the Movimiento Ciudadano, he quickly condemned the government of Puerto Vallarta for the situation, but he also quickly added to the pissing contest going on between the three mayor candidates, or the three primary ones, who are Ramon Guerrero, who you see here, Chuyita Lopez, the wife of our former mayor, Luis Michel, running for the Morena Party, and of course, Luis Munguia running for the Green Party. The fact is that every single political candidate for the mayor position in Puerto Vallarta has a long tail. They all have a history of doing nasty stuff, and they're all guilty of escalating this dirty laundry exhibition and this pissing contest tenor that has taken over the local elections. The elections are here in less than 2 weeks, and only God knows what's going to happen. If there's any anomalies or if there's any violence during the elections, the only people that will be guilty are the same people uh, whose team is doing all this dirty war for them. It is quite disappointing, actually, as a Puerto Vallarta resident, um, to know that when the elections come, there really is not a good choice for mayor. I know who I'm going to vote for, but it's just really ugly. Oh, and check this one out. And meanwhile, in the state of Puebla, a priest took it upon himself to endorse a presidential candidate, urging the congregation to vote for her in the middle of Mass. Talk about separation between church and state, or lack of thereof. This is the way elections are run in Mexico. And it's just very, very, very strange. Um, and last but not least, in my first block of news, I've learned to take surveys in Mexico with a grain of salt, particularly when they happen during electoral periods. This particular one caught my attention. However, the article mentions that the cities in Mexico with best quality of life and security in Mexico are Mérida, Querétaro, Torreón, Puebla, and Monterrey, with Mérida being on top of the list due to the city's lowest crime rate. And at the bottom of the article, the source of the information points to a company called CVAPP, or also known as resume.io, where their goal is to help recent college graduates to find work by assisting them in the preparation of their resumes. So again, I take this information with a grain of salt, and I suggest that you do as well. Let's switch over to the weather, but first let's take a look at this.
Step into the enchanting world of bossa nova. Travel back to the late 50s and 60s when this Brazilian rhythm swept the globe, leaving an indelible mark on music history. Meet the remarkable individuals who sparked the bossa nova flame. Wonder about the girl from Ipanema? She's not just a legend, she's alive today. Discover the unsung hero who introduced this iconic song to the English-speaking world despite being undervalued. Experience bossa nova's vibrant pulse through modern-day luminaries captivating audiences globally. Join us for Blame It on the Bossa Nova, a journey through time and sound. Immerse yourself in classic tunes and explore how this rhythm shaped today's music scene. Mark your calendars for Thursday, May 23rd at 5 p.m. at the Joint Boutique Hotel. Tickets are available at the hotel reception. See you there. Oh, and thank you for watching. And more importantly, thank you for helping spread the word by sharing this video with your friends.
Aha. And just to show how dirty laundry and dirty situation, well, never mind. I'm just going to read what Snarky Weatherman has to say today. Having someone to blame your traitorous flag displays on is all the reason anyone should ever need to get married. I know what that is about, and the world is just going crazy, my friends. But we're not going to go there. What we're going to talk about is, of course, the weather. It is 28 degrees right now. Our humidity is 63%, which is to be expected. And our weather forecast for today says it's going to be humid with clear skies throughout the day, with a high of 29 and a low of 22. Tomorrow, Sunday, it'll be humid with mostly cloudy skies throughout the day, a high of 30 and a low of 22. And tomorrow, it's going to be humid with mostly cloudy skies throughout the day, a high of 29 and a low of 22. And now I want to tell you, where am I? Here I am. Where am I? Here I am. I'm sorry, it's a little crazy today between some of the news that we have to share and some of your comments. Whoa. But let me tell you that yesterday we had a wonderful members only live yesterday afternoon, and I wanted to share some news. And the news that I wanted to share is that there will be no meet and greet this summer. We will not have a large meet and greet this summer for several reasons, but we don't need to get into that. What we will have is a series of mini meet and greets, or at least we're going to have a very first one, and we'll see how that goes. How is this going to work? Well, let me show you. If you go over to my page at Buy Me a Coffee, this is buymeacoffee.com/Ojeda Paco. And you know this link because this is what we show every single day at the end of the broadcast. And then if you go to the top of the page, you'll find a link that says Shop. And if you click on that link, you will notice a new item at the top of the page, and it says Mini Meet and Greet Lunch. Now, because it says shop because that's the way Buy Me a Coffee operates, but you're not buying the going to lunch with me or with anyone. In fact, this is a free thing. We're having a mini meet and greet lunch on Tuesday, May 28th from 1 to 3 at Ascale, a wonderful local restaurant. But the reason it is set up this way, as you notice, it says free, but there's only 5 spots left. The reason why this is set up this way is because I want to make sure that we keep this small. So you need to RSVP. And in fact, by getting this, you are RSVPing. You have the option of selecting the number of spots that you wish to reserve. Say if you are going to go with your spouse or with a friend, then you get 2 spots. And presently, there's only 5 spots left. And again, we're keeping this small simply because this is happening at a small restaurant, number one. Number two, because we want to have the opportunity to really connect with one another. You made it very clear to me that that was important to you in the survey that we sent out shortly after the less than ideal meet and greet that we had last. And we're starting with this one. So if anybody wants to have lunch together, this is going to happen on Tuesday, May 28th. Once you select your spots, you will be directed to a page that has even more details about what is going on and where we're going to meet and where to park and what the restaurant looks like and so forth and so on. All I can tell you is that Ascale is a traditional Mexican-owned restaurant that specializes on seafood, and that their marlin quesadillas and tacos are the best in town. I also want to tell you before we leave that we're getting ready for the 10th episode of the Spotlight. This is going to happen this coming Wednesday. And of course, we already have our watch pages, the links for you to watch, and the links for anyone to register to promote your own event if you would like to do so. And now, before we get into the chit chat, I will tell you what I know about the situation at Hotel Mercurio, which is indeed very sad and very tragic. I know that a news item was published by, I believe, Out and About yesterday, where they reported that authorities came to vacate the hotel sometime around the evening. And what I mean by vacate, they took everything out, and guests were expected to leave without even having a chance to get their belongings. It was not a pretty sight. I was very grateful this morning to get news from several friends of mine and friends of Paul, the owner, reached out to me. I quickly reached out to Paul to see if I could find out exactly what happened. And I was able to speak with Paul's husband, Luis, who told me the following. And of course, I am authorized to tell you what I know. Apparently, what was going on at Mercurio is there was a long-standing legal trial against the hotel. And I'm talking about a legal suit. Hold on, let me clear my throat. Um, there was a legal suit that has been lingering for many, many years, even possibly since the time of the purchase of the hotel. And apparently, the suit was finally lost. So, Hotel Mercurio lost this suit. Authorities seized the property. All the contents of the building are now located in a warehouse in Ixtapa. Paul is devastated. Needless to say, the most important thing right now, and we're talking, this is 1 week uh, before Pride. Paul now has the urgency of reimbursing people that made reservations at the hotel, and giving employees their finiquito. I forget, severance pay. They're giving employees their severance pay because Paul has employees that have been at the hotel since it opened. So he's had employees for over 20 years. So Paul is now under a lot of financial stress. I don't quite know why things took such a tragic and drastic turn. And it is horrible the way this was handled. The fact is that unless Paul and his legal team can apply to some legal recourse, we're looking at the end of Hotel Mercurio as we know it. This is really sad. And my heart is broken for my friend. My heart is broken for the fact that this happened to a person that is as generous with others as it gets. And once again, I apologize for my lack of composure earlier on today, but there is no excuse. And I'm going to say this again, and I hope I don't have to say it again. There is no excuse for making fun of tragic situations like that here at Coffee and Headlines. If anybody else does this again, I'll simply ban you from the broadcast. That is not what we get here, what we get together here for. And that is not the kind of experience that I want Coffee and Headlines to represent for the rest of you. And with that said, let us take a look at your comments and take it from there. Good morning to everyone and good afternoon to those of you that said hello. It is great to see you as always. Let's see. Kathleen says, finally here for the live show. It is great to see you. Let's see. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to go through your comments and skipping the unpleasant ones. And I'm again. Okay, I think I'm gonna crochet a lot today to get this out of my system. That's for sure. Kathleen wrote, don't think it was poking fun. Kathleen, after what I heard and what I told you, I'm just going to say I appreciate your opinion, but that was very uncalled for. And I won't touch that again. But it was uncalled for. Next time, okay. Let's see what else we have. Let us send all good vibes to Dan and Kathy, whose eldest son went through back surgery. Whoosh! Good energy for you guys, and I hope he has a speedy recovery. And let's see what else we have. Oh, Angelica, I love it because you always have something to say about church and state. That priest is totally wrong. The church still thinks that they can still manage the country. Well, unfortunately, yes. The separation between church and state in Mexico is really sketchy, to say the least. To say the least, I was just humored by the fact that a priest would stop in the middle of their service or their sermon to say, "Vote for this candidate and not the others." Um, let's see. Absolutely, Albert. This is horrible news for Mercurio. We don't know details about this legal suit. We don't know who the good guy or the bad guy is, but we do know that there are employees there that are without a job. We know that there are visitors there that are without a place to stay. I I think I read that Eric at the Joint Hotel offered some special discounts for um, for guests that were misplaced, but I don't know the details about that. I am sure Paul will probably use a good GoFundMe, but again, I haven't reached out to Paul yet. I know that he is not doing well, and I will try to reach out to him um, later on today. And again, hopefully, we will find a way to help a good friend and a good member of our community forge ahead through this difficult time. Um, Paul was always generous with donations to the PV Gay Men's Chorus. Absolutely. All of our thoughts are with Paul this morning. This is absolutely heartbreaking. You are correct. Paul is incredibly generous. You are correct. And again, full disclaimer, I had a conversation with Paul's husband, Luis, who gave me the information directly. And I specifically asked him, of course, I'm reaching out as a friend, but I also have this responsibility to my viewers. What can I talk about? And Luis simply said, well, these are the facts. And I am devastated. Lots of good vibes for Paul. Thank you so very much. And yes, give Paul time to process. Who was it that won the legal battle? Well, obviously Paul didn't, and I think this had to do with some problem with the previous owner. I will not even begin to speculate because I had no prior knowledge of this situation. It is amazing that these legal things stick around for such a long time without being resolved. And it is amazing to me that this was handled the way it was. It is devastating no matter how you look at it. And unfortunately, we have nothing else to share today. This is how we end our broadcast. I will put all the links for today's news in the show notes, of course. And as always, I thank you for your support. And once again, I apologize for losing my temper a little while ago. I just hate it when I see people making hurtful comments without showing empathy for things that go wrong. I'll get over it. I'll find a cocktail and I'll do some crochet, and I will have a great weekend, and I hope you will too. And I look forward to seeing you again on Monday morning. Have a good one.